Good morning, Flosstube. It is May 22nd, day 22 of Stitch Mania. It is about 10 o'clock here in the morning in Maryland. It's another gray, rainy day. Oh, what a surprise. One of my friends the day before, posted something on Facebook like, oh, look, the sun is shining, and I replied, don't get used to it, hashtag Maryland, because yeah. But that's okay, it's nice and green out, very pretty. Spring flowers are pretty much done, but that means the perennials will start soon. So anyways, lots of stitchy goodness laying here in front of me. Where were we? Yesterday, get back here. See, I didn't have things all laid out properly. Okay, yesterday I was working on this. Henry and Louise and Henry from Little House Needleworks. And I was actually wondering as I was working on this and as my mind goes here, there, and everywhere, which one is Henry and which one is Louise? Doesn't look like the sheep is Louise from what I can see. But is a crow Louise? I don't know. If you guys know which is Henry and which is Louise, inquiring minds want to know. So, my start. I got quite a bit done on this yesterday. Will you stop flying around? Got quite a bit done on this yesterday. So I got the whole bottom border and a good start on the little grassy mound that he's standing on. See, I automatically said he for the sheep, so maybe that's Henry. I don't know. So for the grass, the pattern called for, I believe, Weeks Dye Works Weeping Willow. I did not have that, so I muddled around in my green flosses, my green overdyes, and the first one that I came up with was this one. Now this is an old Needle Necessities that I've had for years. I really like the variegation in that. And I put a few stitches in here, and I decided this is just way too blue of a green. Blue of a green, do you like that? Too much blue in this green for this color palette. So I ended up pulling out, oh shoot, I meant to have this out. This is this is one of my Victorian Motto sampler threads. Hold on one second. Grr. You know, there's so much when you're doing this every day and so many different things. So this is one of the ones that came, I'm not sure if it came in this month's or last month's, but Sampler Greenery. And I don't keep track whether they're the primitive or the limited edition. This is probably the primitive because it's a sampler related one. But look at all the pretty variegation in that. And you can really see it in the stitches. Doesn't that look pretty? So I am really happy with my progress on that one. So we will get back to that. I just found out today, though, and I probably saw this at some point, that there is actually a companion piece by Little House Needleworks called Warm Winter Woolens. Somebody just pointed that out to me on Instagram, and I will definitely be making that a part of my life in the not too distant future. So that was yesterday. Today is the ABC Darien Lessons in ABC Darien Summer Schoolhouse by Brenda Gervais. And like I had mentioned, I had gotten this last year. One of my first ones that I got and absolutely loved it. I'm looking because on Instagram, because there was somebody commented on my video yesterday that she was linked up with somebody on Instagram who had also done this as one long piece. And I looked at that. She's a gal from Australia, and I actually commented asking if I could share her photo on my Flosstube. I've not heard back yet. I doubt very much if she would mind, but I don't want to do that without having her permission. So if I do get her permission, I have saved off a picture of it. I will post that. I am starting to put this information on my blog. I did a blog post yesterday showing day 20's information. So when I get her permission, I will include the picture of the complete piece on my blog. And what she had mentioned is that there is, I don't know whether you can really see from this picture since you can't see the full pillow, but pretty much all of these are different heights. These two I think are the same. This one might be the same as these. This one is substantially smaller, and this one is the biggest. She, in her post, she actually said that she got graph paper and totally regraphed the charts and added elements in, especially in this one, to make everything the same size. And it is really striking. I had been thinking, I was aware that they were all different sizes, and I had originally been thinking that I would just go with it. I didn't want to fuss with it too much. Seeing it all laid out and stitched the same size, it really is just a stunning piece all together in a line. I may follow what she did. If she has no problem with that, I will ask her permission first. Or I was also thinking, do you see how there's this little safety pin on here with these old buttons pinned to it? Because of course it is a pin keep, right? I was thinking it might be cool, because this one is substantially smaller and it doesn't look like there's any border like there is like around these ones. What I might do, I might like do a little bit of the border around here, but then I might attach, I have a huge thing of old buttons that were my grandmother's. I might just sew the buttons on the top here to bring it up to the height that it needs to be, and just attach them on there to kind of make it my own. So that's what I'm thinking of, and that would be easier. It wouldn't be as much fussing that I would need to do. So anyway, that's where we are today. I also wanted to show you this little box, you know, just one of these little plastic boxes that I had laying around. I probably was using it for beads. And I decided to use it for my flosses for this project. I don't know how practical this would be to use it for to store all of your fancy flosses this way, but I find it really rather convenient. So I have all of the tags taken off, and I actually have the tags laying on top of the, actually they're not all taken off, I haven't used that one yet. I have the tags laying on top so I can see, of course, what color it is. So this is the color I'm currently using. I can put the spare threads on top of that, on top of the tag, so I know that I can grab it. This one obviously goes in here. Yeah, so this is turning out to be a very convenient way to store my flosses for this particular project. So I thought I would let you know that. So the project itself, oh, excuse me. All right, so again, this is 1/1. This is 28 count Lugana. This is the called for floss, the called for fabric, the called for 1/1. You can see, now this was originally a 55-inch long. I forget how wide of a piece of fabric it was, but 55 inches long. I got it, you know, it came as a kit from my LNS, and so that's what I got. I cut it in half because I knew I was going to be doing this as one long piece instead of a bunch of separate pieces, so I didn't need all that extra width hanging around. I do have all the extra length here. I usually keep it rolled up like this, and I have some paper clips that I just put on there to keep it rolled up. I was finding as I was trying to hold it up here to the camera that the weight of that was pulling it down so much it was kind of annoying. So I undid that so that the fabric will rest on the desk and take some of that weight off of there. So this is where we are. This is such a pretty piece. It's going to take a while, but oh my goodness, I'm so glad to be stitching on this again. It's so pretty, and of course it is 1/1, my favorite. I was working on my Harbor Haven this morning, 1/1. Now I moved that light and it is blocked. It's not in the right place. I didn't need my light yesterday because it was bigger stitches and it was a sunnier day, but I definitely need my light today, especially for this. It's funny, I was working on Harbor Haven this morning, and you know, that's 1/1. But the holes are bigger, I think, in the linen. Even though it's a smaller count, it's a 36 count linen, the holes are bigger. I'm having a little bit more problems. And it could just be that, you know, I have to work kind of around my little contraption here holding my phone. So I'm having a little bit more problems with this morning than I usually do. Kind of having to dig for the holes a bit here. And even though this is, excuse me, I'm a little flummy this morning. Even though this is a variegated floss, I am not stitching one at a time, one square at a time, for a couple of reasons. Number one, when I do the sewing method like this, you know, you have that whole, if you do it just one square at a time, you have that whole fear of the floss slipping underneath the fabric threads. And so I'm doing my kind of 2 across the back to help prevent that. But I am trying to do just smaller portions at a time. So that if there is a lot of variegation, now this is going down 5, and that's actually a little bit longer than I want to go because I'm going down into the point of the roof, or the point of the eaves, or whatever you would call this. Separate this. So I try when I'm working with variegated like this, because I mean, this is a very subtly variegated floss. There's not a whole lot of variegation, but there is some. And so to maintain that, I try and do just little portions at a time. So like I said, the 5 is a little bit, I try to keep it to 2 or 3 at a time. This floss is being difficult. So I try to keep it to 2 or 3 at a time so I don't lose what variegation there is. And by 2 to 3, I think you know what I mean, 2 to 3 at a time, just going like one way across 2 or 3 stitches and then back. Does that make sense? Look how much, this is the kind of thing that bothers me. Can you see, maybe a little bit, see how puffier those stitches are than these ones I just did? And on the other side, I'm not keeping my tension very well, and that annoys me, but I'm not taking them out. I'm also having a hard time seeing what I've done. And look, there's a cat hair. Ah! I seem to be complaining a lot this morning. I'm sorry. So let's see what's going on. Not a lot has happened in my life since yesterday. Surprise, surprise. Well, we did take Sasha back to the vet yesterday. It was time for to go back and have his blood sugar checked again to see where we are with our insulin dosage. He had been at like 330, and yesterday she said he was down to 261, so that's pretty good for a cat. Also considering we had a fire alarm test in the building yesterday, and one thing I did not realize, and I assume it's true in humans as well, whenever you're stressed, you release more insulin. So that affects, of course, I guess you release more, or do you release not as much? I don't know. It affects how much it affects your blood sugar. And so when she factored that into his glucose levels, she was fairly happy with the number that she was seeing. So she wants us to keep at one unit in the morning and 1 unit at night, and then we'll go back in another 2 weeks and get another type of test done that checks the blood level over the past 2 weeks. Somehow they can do that, and they get a better reading of just how his body's reacting to it all, I guess. So that was the main excitement yesterday. The fire alarm, you know, they check. We're in a, you know, very well maintained, I should say. Oh, for God's sake. I am not feeling at ease with this today. I don't know why. So they do the fire alarm testing once a quarter, and they run it for, well, they said in the email that they were going to run it for 15 to 20 minutes. I think, thank heavens, they only actually ran it for like 10 minutes. As soon as it started, Nina took off under the bed, and she didn't come out the rest of the day. Poor little kitty. Poor little traumatized kitty. Sasha, we had given Sasha, so because he's a little bit, you know, he's a bit of an aggressive male cat, not with us, but whenever he gets into tense situations, he definitely lashes out, and he lashed out at the vet when we had him in there, when we were first discovering all this. And so they gave us what we call happy pills. I haven't the faintest idea what the prescription name is, but we call his happy pills, so that he will be calmer when we take him to the vet. So I had given him one of those. We're supposed to give him one the night before and then 2 hours before the appointment. So we gave him one, you know, the night before last. It wasn't time to give him the one for 2 hours before his appointment, but he had a happy pill in him. So when the alarm started going off, he was like, dude, what is that? Okay, it's not bothering me. I'm just going to lay here. So Nina and I were freaked out about it more than Sasha seemed to be, but who knows? Don't you wish cats could talk? Don't you wish your pets could tell you how they're feeling, what's wrong? You know, oh, it would make it so much easier, wouldn't it? Are you laying around and kind of lethargic just because it's a lazy day, or do you just not feel well? Because it appears to me you just don't feel well, and I want to help you, and I don't know how. Poor little kitty. So yeah, that was a big excitement here yesterday. I had laughed because one of the ladies who commented on my video yesterday said that she can't decide if she, by watching my Stitch with Me every day video, she feels like she's eavesdropping on my life. Well, it's not a very exciting life anyway, so there's not a whole lot to eavesdrop on. That's okay. We'll just stick together and have calm, quiet lives together. That's okay with me. You can tell I'm really all over the place with my stitching, can't you? Trying to keep the numbers that I'm doing smaller. That's okay. There's no rule that says you have to go a certain direction all the time. Let's see. So, this morning I watched a few quick little floss tubes. I was thrilled to see that Lynette from Homesteading on the Home Front made it home, and she was having a stitching day with some friends. I'd actually been thinking about her Saturday and Sunday. I hadn't seen anything, and not that I would. It's not like we're friends outside of the Flosstube Instagram world, but I was thinking about her and her family and that long trek that they had to make, and just hoping that they got back home and that jet lag wasn't too brutal and they were getting settled in. So it was good to see. She just did a short little video. She's doing a stitch along with 3 other friends on His Eye is on the Sparrow. So the video was just showing them putting their first stitches together as a group. And you know, I am such a sentimental wuss. Mike always laughs at me because he says I cry at commercials, and I really do, especially if they have to do with parents and kids. And see, I get upset just thinking about it. Not upset, just emotionally moved. And so watching her video this morning was just like, oh, that's, you know, it's just so sweet they've been anticipating this for so long, and it's just so good to see them back home, and it just really touched my heart. So, Lynette, welcome home. I don't know whether you watch these. You probably don't have time at this point, or maybe you do, because you're going to be waiting on your household goods and haven't quite gotten settled yet. So, welcome home. I know you are thrilled to be back here in the States. So, let's see, what else? Oh, I also saw this morning, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to do that soon. Ginger Gerald put up another one of his Confessions of a Flosstuber video, and this time he has interviewed, I believe her name is Judith from XJU Designs. You know how much I love XJU Designs fabrics and flosses, and I'm working on that one pattern of hers. And I've actually enabled several other people to get it and start it, so that's always fun. So I'm really excited to watch that video and listen to her live. Not really live, but in person, kind of, sort of. You know what I mean. All right, I think I'm going to stop there. I'm at 21 minutes of rambling. And I was sure I was going to have to go to one of the Flosstube tags today to fill in some time, because I didn't think I had that much to say, but I fooled myself. I really don't like my tension on this, but you know something? I'm not going to rip it out. I think by the time, look how nice and even my tension is on the bird. I really like that. I'm not going to rip it out because by the time it's all put together, it's not like people are going to be able to see it. It might be because before I was doing more stab and poke, and what I've done here today is my kind of, I don't even know what to call it, layering method. I don't know what to call it. I think I'm going to go back to stab and poke from now on, even though it's slower. But that's okay. It'll get done. So anyways, that's what I'll be working on the rest of the day. I have to run to the grocery store in this gorgeous rainy weather, but such is life. The kitties need food. I don't know whether I mentioned this before. I think I did, that we make their food, so I have to run and get some more chicken. Tomorrow I will not be doing a Stitch with Me. Tomorrow's the day I'll be heading up, and I'm going to cry again, so forgive me. I will be heading up to Pennsylvania with my friends here to visit our friend who just recently went on to hospice care for cancer. So keep us in your prayers for travel and for visiting her. And her name's Rosemary. Just keep her in your prayers. She's been fighting the good fight for a number of years, and she deserves peace, and she deserves no pain, and just God bless Rosemary. Anyways, tomorrow I will be starting this one, Lizzie Kate Snowman 10. Look at those gorgeous turquoises. You know why I got that pattern, right? I do not have those buttons, so I am going to have to find some turquoise buttons. I don't think I have buttons like that in my stash, so maybe the L&S will have them. I'll have to check and see. And I see there are little beads too. I do have beads. Anyway, so I have this little scrap piece of, I have 32 count question mark. I don't know why I have a question mark after that, so I will be counting that. I'm hoping I can stitch on this in the car. 32 count over 2 I should be able to. I assume I'm doing over 2. I guess I will have to, whoops, I shouldn't be showing that chart, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do some counting and some figuring and see where I am and make sure I have all my stuff with me to take with me tomorrow. I'm also going to take my knitting with me because in the car, you never know. Pennsylvania roads, I've talked about them before. Anyway, that is all for me today. I'm going to try and keep my blog post going. I hope to get a couple more up today. I'd like to get all of my Stitch Maynia ones up. I'm probably not going to do all the previous Flosstube ones because there's just too much information there. But I want to get all of my Stitch Maynia ones up since I'm just doing, I'm just going to do that day's project on my Stitch Maynia blog posts. So I can have all my color changes, better pictures for everybody to see, and that kind of thing. So that's my plan for the day. I hope you guys get some stitching in. I just hope you guys have a beautiful day. Love you all, and I will talk to you not tomorrow, but the day after. Have a great one. Bye-bye.